We are back in some news around the world of professional wrestling. First off, we'll get to the TLC pay-per-view that was Sunday, which was just an absolute clusterfuck. we should get that trending, hashtag clusterfuck, to describe TLC, because I don't know what I watched. Again, the ending for the main event was good, but I felt like I was in 6 different directions in that entire match. Anyway, some news with the competitor of the WWE. They're not really a competitor anymore. They haven't been for a while. Were they ever? But in in some least surprising news, because did we even think that this was going to last? Impact Wrestling has announced yesterday that they are no longer in the Double J and Global Force Wrestling business. What does that mean? Well, Impact Wrestling, at Impact Wrestling, tweeted out today. Impact Wrestling announced today that it has terminated its business relationship with Jeff Jarrett and Global Force Entertainment Incorporated, effective immediately. That was tweeted on October 23rd, 2017, which was yesterday at 12:25 p.m. So, it's not really surprising. Because Anthem Entertainment, which is Impact's parent company, already put Jarrett on a leave of absence. And the promotion has kind of been quietly distancing itself from the TNA Hall of Famer, from his brand for weeks. If you remember, he showed up at that AAA event reportedly drunk. So it's kind of sad, it's kind of laughable, but it's also not surprising because not well thought out moves plague TNA since it's been around. Management just does not understand what to do. And that's why throughout the years, even though their product has gone down, WWE is still here and almost everybody else is here. I mean, look at WCW. They had something clicking for a while, that it worked. Once the hot hand fizzled out, they didn't know what to do. They didn't know how to run a wrestling company. And it's the same with TNA. Regardless of what they ask to be called, TNA, Impact, GFW, NWA, TNA, whatever the hell they are, or who owns them, it's just not well thought out moves are always the norm. And the fact that they're publicly splitting from GFW less than 4 months after announcing they would acquire them and merge their titles with Global Force, it's a clusterfuck. And again, it gets back to what we were talking about just moments ago with the TLC main event. It's just a clusterfuck. Here's Jeff Jarrett speaking about this. This was on July 1st, 2017. And this was Jarrett talking about the news moving forward that Impact will be rebranding as GFW and they will be merging together. This is what Jarrett had to say.
Big news last night. The company's going under a rebrand, a name change. You're going to be known as Global Force Wrestling now. Tell me your personal thoughts about getting to have both of your brands under one roof now and one name. It's all coming together.
I mean, it sort of was a natural progression, so to speak. Obviously, it's no secret that I left December of 2013. And even from maybe 2000, I don't know, 10, 11, 12, up till, to me, over the last couple of years, there was always, to me, a bit of a confusion. It was, for years and years, it was TNA, and the name of the television show was Impact. And really, really simple. The TNA was the name of the brand, name of the league, whatever, however you want to cachet it and call it. But to me, it was a natural progression. I came back in January, myself and Anthem, and we started working together, and I was named Chief Creative Officer of Anthem Wrestling Exhibitions, and they made it very clear, literally from day one, that the TNA name was going away. you know, for better or worse, it's taken a lot of hits over the last 36 months or so. And so the name, like I said, the name TNA was going away, so it sort of naturally fit when we started merging. And so, you know, the name of the show, Impact, just like it was in 2004 when we came down to Orlando and shot our first episodes, and it appeared on Fox Sports, and then obviously on Spike through the years. And Destination America and Pop and all around the world, Sony 6 and Africa and Spike UK. The name of the television show is Impact, and the name of the brand now is Global Force Wrestling. I'm super excited about it. Like I said, it was a natural progression. Once myself and the whole entire team at Anthem, it was just a natural progression, and this is the next step in rebuilding of the brand, so to speak.
There's something that he keeps saying there repeatedly. And he keeps saying natural progression. Natural progression, natural progression. That's what he keeps saying. My thing is, the natural progression was the fact that once you have to change the name of your company, you're pretty much fucked. I mean, the only reason that the WWE had to change their name of the company was because they had a lawsuit filed against them with the WWF, with the World Wildlife Fund, and they had to change. But really not much change. They just took out the F, get the F out, if you remember that branding thing, and they put the E in there. And everything was pretty much the same. It was the same logo almost. They just scratched the F out. But with TNA, you know, you go from NWA TNA to Impact to GFW. It's too much. It's too much. And, you know, the natural progression is that they are just going down and down and down and down and down every year. They repeatedly change what day and what time their television show's on. Forget the Monday night debacle that they had. They've been on Tuesday nights, then they've been on Thursday nights, then Wednesday nights, then Friday nights, then back to Thursdays, then back to Fridays. Then we went to Tuesdays, then back to Wednesdays, then back over to Fridays, then Thursdays, then Wednesdays, then back to Tuesdays, then back over to Fridays, then back to Wednesdays. And I think they're on Thursdays now, on Pop. And that's another thing. They keep changing every television network that they're on. They've been on FS1, and then they've been on Pop and Spike TV and all this other stuff. I don't even remember what it was before. Oh, it was Destination America was before Pop. And that was after Spike. So they just keep changing. And unless you've been a household company for over 50 years, if you keep changing, people aren't going to stick around. They're just not going to stick around. It's just not. And that's the natural progression. If Jeff wants to talk about that, that's the natural progression. Is that it's progressively changing, and it's progressively getting bad. And this was a disaster from the beginning. If anybody thought that this was a good move, I mean, when they did this over the summer, my initial reaction was, it's desperation. It's Jarrett trying to latch GFW onto Impact, because as bad as Impact is, it's somewhat a name, it's somewhat known, and as much as the shit they've gone through, it still had somewhat of an audience compared to GFW, which had less than nothing. I mean, they were drawing 95 people in minor league baseball stadiums with no television deal. It was bad. So Jarrett found the opportunity to get in with Impact and merge. And it looks like everyone's, okay with it. And it never was. It never was, and it never worked out. And he said something in there about the TNA name being tarnished. GFW has not been around long, and GFW basically has nothing to its credit and nothing to show for, and they just have nothing on their resume. But yet it's a name that you hear and you're like, oh, isn't that joke of a company that Jarrett started up after he got the boot from TNA? That's what it is. Oh, isn't that the company that draws about 95 people at minor league baseball stadiums? Oh, isn't that the company with no television deal for like the last 2 years that they've been in existence? They've never had a TV deal? Oh, that one. Okay. Again, I never liked the TNA name being changed. And when I talk about the company with people that work, or just people that I know that are wrestling fans and they watch it, we still say, oh, you watched TNA last night. You watched TNA on Thursday. You watched TNA. It's never you watch Impact. Never. And I know that's the name of the show, and it was the name of the show, but we still refer to it as TNA. Because as bad as it did, TNA had some great moments to its name. Impact has had nothing. And GFW, please, it's been a disaster. So, again, Impact is done with Global Force Wrestling. They're done with Jeff Jarrett. What does that mean for Jeff Jarrett? Well, you know, he had some success early on in TNA, but the fact of the matter is, this is about project number 45 that just has not worked out for Jeff. And I really don't think that Jeff knows what he's doing. He doesn't know what he's doing as an executive mind. He was a good mid-card wrestler. He had some early success with them. But in terms of running a company and really competing and carving a niche and getting an audience, Jeff has not done that. Because as good as TNA was, and we look back at the past and the memories, their TV ratings were abysmal. So let's keep that in mind as well. But again, the GFW Impact Jeff Jarrett honeymoon is over, and if you expected anything less,